But if we have the capacity to just catch it early, you just I believe so much in you. You got to catch it that one time. The one time when you could have exploded and you didn't, and instead you choose to practice the help now strategy. You choose to breathe. You choose to practice self compassion. You choose to practice patience to bear the suffering, patience to bear the perpetrator, patience to bear the profundity of the Dharma. And then you're like, oh my God, I did it. You celebrate yourself. And you know that because you did it once, you can do it over and over again until anger no longer runs your life. It's like the responsible friend. Like if you had a night out, that would the prefrontal cortex would be the part of the brain that doesn't drink, they don't do the most, and they drive everyone home safely. When anger arises, would you imagine that that part turns off? That is enough for us to extend self compassion to ourselves. So I am back in Europe and it's been a while. The other day, I went to my mother's in law's house, my husband's mother, and she has the most beautiful garden blooming. She spends like all day in the garden gardening, and she made me this beautiful bouquet of roses directly from her garden. My love! I'm making a video. Baba! I love you too. Anger. And I'm not going to be speaking as a sage on the stage, like someone who has transcended anger and is here to give you advice, but as someone who has personally been abused by the mental affliction of anger and have learned tools to self regulate. It's been one heck of a ride. In fact, I don't even know how I'm still alive sometimes, and I'm saying this very seriously. Almost every form of abuse that you can imagine, physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, uh, dealing with grief, losing both of my parents, I experienced all of those at a very young age. And I didn't know how to even process any of those emotions. I'm Haitian. In a Haitian household, you don't really talk about mental health. You just pray about it or you get over it. And so, a lot of the trauma that I experienced, because I didn't learn the tools to process that trauma, it ended up manifesting as unexpressed anger. I didn't know that I was struggling with anger. I used to call it other things. Like I'm frustrated, I'm annoyed, this person did this. I had my trauma. I had a million names for the anger besides anger. And the problem with that is unless you call the devil by its name, unless you call the anger exactly what it is anger. It's impossible to actually start the process of healing the anger, transcending the anger, overcoming the anger. So call the anger by its name. But it's really important not to superimpose the anger on your identity. So there's a big difference between saying, I'm struggling with the affliction of anger versus I am an angry person. If you superimpose the anger on your identity, it is very difficult to bear. So the anger is not a personal flaw, but it's a shared human experience. We are all human. We all have limitations. We all have difficult emotions that we're learning how to process. So this is not personal. So our mind is constantly in a state of push and pull. If we like something, pull, attachment. If we don't like something, push. We push it away. So push and pull, and we move back and forth between these two states. And when it comes to anger, take a wild guess. Our mind is pushing something away. Aversion. It doesn't like it because it's uncomfortable and it causes suffering. So it constantly pushes and pushes. But there is a middle way between the push and pull. It's embracing. It's compassion. So the opposite of the expression of anger is compassion, but not compassion in the form of, oh, everyone is hurting me. I have no boundaries. Kumbaya. I'm just going to give flowers to everyone. That's not what I'm talking about. Extending compassion is not for the other person. It's for you. It's for you. It starts though with self compassion because it's impossible to extend compassion to someone else without first extending compassion to ourselves. Self compassion manifests in the form of the capacity to sit with our own suffering. When a difficult emotion arises in my body, can I have the capacity to sit with it? When I have the capacity to sit with it and be with it, I can understand it. When I can understand it, I can see that the suffering is impersonal and everyone else is dealing with this, including the person that I am angry with. So compassion is one remedy for anger. The warm-hearted wish to see others happy and free, to see others free from suffering. But it doesn't have to be you. I'm not saying that the person you're angry with go and relieve their suffering and we're not Gandhi, we're not Jesus Christ, we're not Buddha Shakyamuni. We have these aspirations to have this great compassion, to have this altruism, but perhaps we're not there yet. But in the meantime, you can think of this shift in perception as a means of creating more peace internally for yourself. The second remedy for anger is patience, but not patience like waiting for it to pass. Patience as in forbearance. And there's 3 types of patience. The first one is the patience to bear the suffering. Now, I know, if you're watching this video, we're in this together. And we know that when anger arises, not only is the anger causes suffering, but we start beating ourselves up. Especially if you're a spiritual practitioner, or if you're someone who's into personal development, or even if you're a life coach. It's like, why am I doing this? So there's this added suffering that we create by beating ourselves up, that we should know better. Why are we doing this? Why are we behaving like this? So we lose patience with ourselves. That's why patience to bear the suffering is one remedy. Because when we can practice the patience, like anger is here right now. I feel it in my body. I feel it arising. This is what it means to be human. This will pass. I take a deep breath. The ability to extend this patience to ourselves helps to quell the anger. And it helps us to stop beating ourselves up. It helps us to practice self-compassion. So this is one, patience to bear the suffering. The second type of patience is patience to bear the perpetrator. This is the person who you are angry with. The person who seems to be the object of your suffering, the person that you're pushing away. And how to practice patience with this person. It isn't like telling them, okay, it isn't like not having boundaries. It's purely a cognitive process. Recognizing that if this person knew better, they would do better. I know that this person is suffering, otherwise they would not create suffering for me. I know that this person wants to be happy just like me. I know this person didn't have their needs met growing up. It takes a lot to extend our self in this way, but I want you to know you're not doing it for the other person. You're doing it for yourself. Practicing patience with the perpetrator is not for the perpetrator. It's for you. And it's purely a cognitive process of shifting the perspective. Can you see this person as a human being rather than a person who's objectively bad? This person has a mother, a father, friends, and people who love them. And granted, they might be the object of our suffering, but for other people, they bring them the most joy. So could I shift my perspective just a little more to practice patience, to see this person as a human being, as someone who is flawed, just like me, as a person who suffers, just like me, as a person who wants happiness, just like me. And this is not a kumbaya conversation. I'm gonna bring flowers to all the people who cause me suffering. No, this is about shifting your own perspective so you can have peace and happiness in your life. The third type of patience is patience to bear the profundity of the Dharma. That means whatever your practice is, whatever your spiritual practice is, whether you're a Buddhist or Christian, a yogi, Jainism, Islam, whatever you practice, the medicine is real. But the medicine takes time. It's not a quick fix. There's this thing I used to do where when I get angry, it's shifted now because of my practice. But when I get angry, I want to throw everything away. Okay, this is not working. I'm doing all this yoga, all this prayer, all this meditation, and like, God, why is this happening? And the very medicine, the Dharma, the practices that I am doing, I swear that I'll never enroll with a coach or personal development coach again. I don't want to sit for another meditation practice. We lose patience with the medicine, with the practice. Patience to bear the profundity of the Dharma, trusting that this medicine, it works. It takes time. It's not a quick fix. It's not a quick pill that you take and then suddenly the anger goes away. So 3 types of patience. Patience to bear the suffering, patience to bear the perpetrator, and patience to bear the profundity of the Dharma. Social media is a culprit in our anger because when we consume a lot, our nervous system gets dysregulated. We start to feel like essentially there's just an overload of input in our mind, and we literally don't have the capacity to process any of it. And one of the tendencies that might arise when we're dysregulated, because remember, anger, it starts as a spark. It doesn't just like you don't just wake up and then 1.5 second anger erupts, right? There's like a journey to getting there. But at the beginning of the journey, when we feel a bit of discomfort in our body, there might be this tendency to escapism, by watching something, listening to something, doing something, rather than something is not quite right in my body, I'm feeling a bit frustrated, let me do something about it. We might go and consume. So this is just something to check in, whether or not you have that tendency to consume. I know this is a tendency that I have. For some of us, it might be with food. For some of us, it might be with media. For some of us, it might be with like talking to people and hearing gossip and a lot of input. Just be with the preceding sensations of anger. Before anger erupts, there are sensations that arise in the body. Like we might feel slight discomfort, we might feel heat in the body, we might feel just like uneasy, like we might feel more impatient than usual. What if we could address the spark before the forest fire? What if we could address the spark before the flame? So what is the spark for you? What are the signs that your body gives you that's like, hey, you're about to be emotionally dysregulated? Can you do something at that level? The ability to respond. Can you respond before the forest fire? Anger and all of these difficult afflictions that we experience is happening very much, for sure, in our mind, but also on a biological, physiological level. Our brain, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that is, I would say, we could describe the prefrontal cortex as like the responsible friend. Like if you had a night out, the prefrontal cortex would be the part of the brain that doesn't drink, they don't do the most, and they drive everyone home safely. When anger arises, would you imagine that part turns off? That is enough for us to extend self-compassion to ourselves. Like on a physiological level, there's a part of my brain that actually its capacity to function diminishes significantly. So it's not about not taking responsibility, but it's not 100% your fault. But there are things that we can do when that happens to turn on the responsible part of the brain. So what happens is the brainstem, the survival brain, the very primitive brain, does anti-takeover. Now we're purely in survival, fight or flight. We're ready to just break and move everything out of the way. It's like an animalistic instinct. that happened. Now we have one job to turn back on that prefrontal cortex. And there are some simple things that you can do. It sounds so simplistic, but you wouldn't believe. One of those things is counting 6 colors. So white, brown, pink, blue, and that part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, starts to turn back on. We start to get back into our resilient zone, feeling more emotionally regulated. You can push your back against the wall. You can slowly drink a glass of water and just observe the sensations in your body. You can take a few deep breaths. You can check to see what sounds you hear. You can count your 10 fingers. A lot of us, we have these tools already. So we call these help now strategies. And the reason why they're called help now is because when we observe that we're about to be emotionally dysregulated, the capacity to do these things, these very simple help now strategies, they actually start to turn on that prefrontal cortex. We take back the control over our brain, and then we can make sound decisions that lead to more peace for ourselves, more peace for others, the capacity to just maintain peace within, peace without, and peace everywhere. It's not always easy. In fact, it is a muscle to learn how to emotionally regulate. I always laugh at the word emotional regulation because it feels like by the time the emotion of anger arises, it feels like it's too late, right? It's almost like it starts feeding itself like a fire. But if we have the capacity to just catch it early, you just, I believe so much in you. You got to catch it that one time. The one time when you could have exploded and you didn't, and instead you choose to practice the help now strategy. You choose to breathe. You choose to practice self compassion. You choose to practice patience to bear the suffering, patience to bear the perpetrator, patience to bear the profundity of the Dharma. And then you're like, oh my God, I did it. You celebrate yourself. And you know that because you did it once, you can do it over and over again until anger no longer runs your life. But it is a process. I want you to know that you're not alone in this journey. Sometimes we can feel so isolated in our struggle with anger because no one really talks about, no one wants to say they experience anger, right? Everyone wants to be like perfect sage on the stage. But I'm with you. I understand what it feels like. I believe in you. I believe that you have everything it takes to regulate your emotions, to bring peace into your mind, into your body. You deserve happiness. You deserve freedom. You deserve peace. And let me know if this video is helpful to you. What was your main takeaway? Leave me a comment in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video.